Hey guys, Katy here, and today I'm filming out on my back porch because it's been raining on and off today and it's really nice outside and it smells really good. It's not raining right now, but it was just a second ago, and I'm kind of hoping if I sit out here it'll rain some more because I really like to sit on my back porch and watch the rain. Today I wanted to kind of give an update about my writing life. So I mentioned previously on my channel that I've been working on writing a book, and I just finished the rough draft, and so that's really exciting, and I know that some of you might want some updates on that. So I recently decided, and it was a really difficult decision to make, but I decided to let myself work on other projects, and I'll explain why. So I have been working on this one story, on this one novel, since I was a freshman in high school, and I'm a junior in college right now. So I wouldn't ever let myself write anything else because I was afraid that I would get too enamored with another idea and I would work on that instead of finishing my current project. So I didn't ever really let myself breathe and write anything else. I just stuck to these characters in this one particular story that I had in mind, and it's one that I really like, but unfortunately I noticed when I finished the rough draft and I was looking through it, it's very disjointed because I wrote it over the span of almost 6 years, and so I also wrote it out of order. I was excited to write all the action scenes. I knew what was going to happen at the end of the novel, and I wanted to focus on that instead of the boring middle parts. So I wrote a lot of the scenes that I already had in my head, and I wrote them out of order. And I wrote them out of order over the span of 6 years. So some scenes I wrote when I was 15, and they're right next to a scene that I wrote when I was 20, and it feels really jumpy and disjointed because you can see that my writing style changed over the years, but scenes of different writing styles would be right next to each other, and you can also tell that kind of the direction that I was going with the story also sort of changed. I realized as I'm going through and I'm editing and revising, it's really turning more into me trying to piece a bunch of really disjointed scenes together. And I realized that I have a pretty strong beginning and I have a pretty strong end, but I don't have a middle at all. And I think part of that's also due to the fact that I never really planned out where it was going to go. A lot of people told me, plan out a storyboard and plan scene by scene, put it on some sticky notes, hang it on your wall so you have a very clear idea of where your story is going. And I was always like, nah, I don't need that. I know where my story's going. I thought I was going to be able to write it really quickly, but I'm a student, and a lot of times what would happen is I would go through these writing spurts where I would write, and then school would start, and then I wouldn't write for an entire semester, and then I'd have to wait until Christmas break or summer break to write again. And that's part of the reason it took me so long to finish the rough draft, is because there was never any steady, concentrated writing. I would write a couple of 100 words here, a couple of 100 words there, with these really long spaces in between. I'm looking at this whole experience as a learning one, and I'm letting myself work on another project because this one is feeling so stale right now that it's kind of sapping the joy out of writing. I'll sit down to write, and I realize that I have to work on this really jumbled up story that I've been working on since I was 15, and sometimes I just want to work on something new. I'm letting myself do that. I am shelving this story for the time being. I'm not getting rid of it. I'm not going to delete it. I have every intention of coming back to it after I finish another project and fixing it with a fresh mind when I'm in a new place and I'm more seasoned as a writer. But now I've decided I'm going to work on a new project, and I'm going to do a couple things differently. I think I'm going to write in chronological order. I'm going to plan out what I'm actually doing before I start, and I'm going to try to write consistently. And even if I'm in the middle of a really busy semester, I want to make sure that I set aside some time to write, and that I don't just leave my story hanging until the next break that I get, because then it won't be cohesive anymore. And so that's what I'm doing. And it's really freeing and awesome. Right now I'm in the process of just deciding what I want to write, and I spent so long not letting myself look at other ideas that I don't really remember how to be creative anymore and come up with a story. So I've made a couple Pinterest boards for different ideas that I have. I think what I'm gonna do is just let myself brainstorm and come up with a couple different characters, a couple of different directions that I want to go in. I can't decide if I want to write a fantasy or if I want to write an urban fantasy. I don't think I want to write contemporary just yet, but who knows? I'm not going to limit myself. But I think what I'm going to do is just come up with a couple of different ideas that I really like, that I really feel connected to, and make Pinterest boards for them and kind of plan out a story for each of them, and maybe turn each of them into a short story and just kind of play around in that world and with those characters, and then decide which one I like the best and go with it. And another thing that I'm doing with this story that I didn't do with my first one is I'm writing it for me. I'm not going to pretend like I'm not writing for publication, because I really, really, really would love to be a published author. But I'm looking at this one like my first draft is mine. I'm going to put everything that I want to put in it. I don't have a publishing company telling me what to do right now, and I'm going to take advantage of that. I'm going to stuff it with everything that I want to see in a book and put as much of my own style in it as I possibly can, make my characters do whatever I want them to, make my world building as off the wall as I want it to be. Just write a story for me that makes me happy, get as creative with it as I can, and not worry about what people are going to think of it. Because with the first book that I was writing, I spent so much time thinking about how it was going to be received by my readers that I ended up never writing anything that I really wanted to write, because I thought that people would think it was silly, or that it wasn't compelling enough, or that it was too full of masquerades, because I just love masquerade scenes in books, and they're the tropiest thing. And I let myself focus so much on what other people were going to think of it that I didn't have fun writing it anymore. And so with this book, I'm going to write whatever I want in my first draft and just tell myself that it's just for me. And then I think my second draft is when I'm going to go through and say, okay, this isn't going to be received very well, or I think that this is kind of a plot hole, or I should fix these things, and go through it with the reader's lens when I'm editing it. And another thing I think I'm going to do that'll speed up the writing process and make me feel less bogged down is I'm just going to let my first draft be complete trash. So I'm not going to edit as I go along. I have this terrible habit of taking years and years to write a paragraph because I'm trying to find just the perfect wording in every single sentence instead of just writing down the thought that I have. And so I'll forget where I'm going with a scene because I'm so bogged down in getting the sentence structure to sound right. So I'm just gonna speed write. Well, not necessarily speed writing. I'm not gonna spend forever thinking of a good synonym. I'm just gonna write whatever comes into my head. And then that way, it'll take me forever to go through and revise and edit my second draft, or my first draft. But it's okay, because I think I'll get the first draft out of the way much more quickly than 6 years. So I think it'll be more fun for me. And I really like editing. Editing is one of my favorite things to do. So then I can go through and just chapter by chapter, spend a couple days on each section and really perfect it and polish it after the bone structure is already there. I want to get a skeleton down. It can be as messy and jumbled as it wants to be, and I'll go through and fix it. So that's what I'm doing now. I've told some of my friends and they're kind of mad at me. They're like, you're abandoning the circus book? You've been working on that since you were 15. What the heck? I never got to read any of it. And sorry, please don't be mad at me. I promise I'm coming back to it. But I am going to take a break from it and let myself breathe and get back to what I think is fun about writing. And I'm going to write because it's something that I love and not because it's something that I have to do. And it's really liberating, and I've enjoyed it so far, and I'll keep you guys updated on where it goes. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. I filmed it on my phone instead of my camera, so I have no idea what the video or the sound quality is like. I've probably been really shaky as I've been holding it, Sorry, I hope it wasn't too terrible to watch. Please feel free to comment down below with any of your thoughts. Are you guys writing? Have you ever had a similar experience where you worked really hard on one project and kind of forgot how to love what you were doing? Have any of you started any new projects recently? Tell me about them down below. I'd love to hear and have a discussion with you. I'll see you all again very soon with a new video. I think my next video will probably be a wrap-up of all the books that I read when I wasn't able to make any videos, just to kind of catch you up on what I've been reading. I'm currently reading Children of Blood and Bone by Tommy Adeyemi. I'm so sorry if I said her last name wrong. I haven't watched any interviews with her yet because I don't want any spoilers. But I'm really enjoying it so far, and I'll probably be making a video on this one pretty soon too. So yeah, I'll see you guys really soon. Until then, happy writing. Bye.
Yes, it's raining again.
Yes!